published 5:49 Eastern Standard Time, the 28th of February 2018, updated 10:28 Eastern Standard Time, the 28th of February 2018. Pressure on Arsene Wenger is mounting with every passing week as Arsenal slide from one embarrassment to another. The Gunners were humiliated by Manchester City in Sunday's Carabao Cup final at Wembley, ruining Wenger's chances of winning the one trophy in English football that has eluded him. They sit sixth in the Premier League table, needing to bridge a 10-point gap in order to make the top four and return to the Champions League next season. Arsene Wenger is under mounting pressure to quit Arsenal after the Carabao Cup, humbling Laurent Koscielny left, and Jack Wilshere cut dejected figures as Arsenal lost to Man CityIn. That regard, the hopes rest on winning the UEFA Europa League, but they will have to overcome Milan in the round of 16. Worse for Wenger is that many of the players who performed with such distinction under him are starting to criticise his methods. The likes of Ian Wright, Martin Keown, Thierry Henry, Paul Merson and Ray Parlour, Arsenal legends turned pundits in the main media, have turned the fire on Wenger over recent weeks. Here is some of the criticism that has come Wenger's way from the players he once managed. "I never thought I would see the day when an Arsene Wenger team was so outclassed by another side on their own shores. That is what Manchester City did at Wembley. Arsenal are 27 points behind Pep Guardiola's City in the Premier League, and boy did it show. There was a feeling of embarrassment against Ostersund in midweek, and Wenger would have felt that again on Sunday. It's become traditional for Wenger to reach a showpiece final and rescue his reputation, but not this time. He was clinging to his artful brand of football a few years ago. The brand took a major hit here. Arsenal never laid a glove on City. Wenger is a fighter. When I played under him, his biggest strength was that he could create this belief that we could beat anyone. That belief was glaringly absent at Wembley. Former Arsenal defender Martin Keown said the belief has gone from Wenger and his team. If it doesn't get much better for him, then at the end of the season he has to hold his hands up and say, maybe I'm not the man to take this club forward. Champions League is looking now like it's not going to happen for Arsene Wenger, and the questions will come again. Is he going to be there next season or not? Watching him now is like witnessing the aging Muhammad Ali against Larry Holmes, or in Brazil's Ronaldo when he got fat. You are in the greats in the demise. The problem with Arsene is that there is no one in his corner prepared to throw in the towel. Ian Wright compared Wenger to Muhammad Ali in the twilight of his career, or fat Ronaldo. There are excuses from Wenger, and he is mollycoddling a team. Whether he stays at the end of this season, I could not make a case. I'm not sure anyone can. This development of mediocrity has to be arrested. When I meet Arsenal fans, it's often, why are we not winning the league? The problem that Arsenal have as a team is consistency. You need to be consistent. We've seen them beating Chelsea, doing well at home and giving us good games, but then consistency is not always there. You need to have good games away from home. Losing at Bournemouth, Swansea. You want to be excited after games when they play well against good teams, but you tend to kind of calm yourself down because you don't know what's going to happen next. That's the story of everybody involved at Arsenal, especially the fans, because you cannot brag about the win as you're thinking, hang on a minute, maybe next week we might be in trouble. It's very difficult. You can lose games, you can lose finals. I lost finals, but it's how you lose them. When you look at the first two goals on Sunday, they were goals that you can avoid. It wasn't that difficult to avoid. Thierry Henry has been tipped by some to succeed Arsenal at the Emirates Stadium. That shocks me more than them. The goals at the end. In the final, on a goal kick, long ball, one long ball through the lines, with all the option and the false routes that they give you, and they play a long pass to Sergio Aguero, Shkodran, Mustafi. You still have to defend that better. You still have to be aware of the danger. The ball is coming. The club need a plan behind the scenes now. They may decide to go with an inexperienced person like Patrick Vieira, Thierry Henry, or do we want to go with someone who has Champions League experience like Diego Simeone? Obviously then there's Carlo Ancelotti, who has managed some of the biggest clubs in the world, but the one I would take a gamble on, and I think he'd be given time, is Patrick Vieira. Ray Parlour believes Arsenal need to have a plan in place to replace Wenger soon. Arsenal have leadership and coaching issues which they've got to look at. They need to ask if the players cared about the particular game, or were they believing when they walked out. that they'd lost the game already. If I was still there, I'd be trying to sense that before it started to happen, to see what kind of player and human being I had at the club. You can develop a stronger mentality within certain players, but they've got to want to pick it up as well. You've got to look at the individuals, as well as the whole team, and not allow things to continue if you know deep down that is not the way to play for Arsenal. Sol Campbell has spoken about the leadership and coaching issues currently at Arsenal. He knew they couldn't do what Wenger did against City. Wigan without the ball are a better football team than Arsenal. They're the worst team in the country without the ball, and it was proven again when they haven't got the ball. Too many of them don't see danger, they don't close down. They never close down as a group, it's all individuals. You see Man City press and they all go at the same time, they all know what they're doing. But with Arsenal, nobody knew what they were doing. When the first goal went in, I just turned to my wife and said, this could be any score you want. One team was playing in a cup final, the other team looked like they were playing a testimonial. Ex-gunner Paul Merson said Arsenal treated the cup final like they were playing a testimonial. I know people say the manager is responsible, but the players have got to take part of the blame now. It's not always Arsene Wenger's fault. He put the team up there to play a cup final at Wembley. It's a big game, the biggest of the season, and I can't blame him for what they did. I really felt for Wenger. I really felt sorry for him. The players let him down severely, and he's the one who'll get the blame again. The team isn't good enough. Some of the players just aren't good enough to play for Arsenal. They need a clear out. 5 or 6 of the players who played yesterday should be playing at Everton or lower. It's all about the players. If you haven't got the best players, you're not winning anything.